Alrighty. Are we live? Are we live? Hello? Hello? Can y'all hear me? Hi. Hello. Happy Friday, everyone. What is going on? How we doing? There we go. There we go. Oh, thank you for the super chat. Robo Demon. I love it. Aw, thank you. First time being able to catch a live stream. Love your content, Evie. I always recommend your channel to others looking for good information. Happy birthday and best wishes. Thank you. So my birthday was actually the 5th, and it's the 7th today. I was like out doing stuff, so I did not get to be here with you all for it, but I really wanted to be. So instead, we are streaming today for our birthday and my channel anniversary stream. Oh, there's Rob. There we go. We can see Rob now. And I actually made my channel on July 4th of 2015. I think I posted, actually, when did I post my first video? What day was that? Because I remember how my birthday went, and I remember like how that all went, and then at the time, like before, and we can get into like the YouTube channel story if people want to hear that, but I thought I'd get dressed up for you all today. I got like a new necklace on my birthday that's like a little moon, and I got like a new dress in the mail. I thought, you know what? We'll just dress up like we're all doing a little birthday date here. So how about that? Yes. I'm 29 now. I've been on YouTube not my entire adult life, but pretty dang close to it. So that's fun for me. Happy belated birthday, fellow Cancer lady. Mine is coming up Wednesday. Well, happy early birthday to you. Love all of the Cancer babies, I'm sure, in the chat. I have a laser hair removal lady, and she's also a Cancer, and she's always like, a family of Cancers always sticks together. I thought that was so funny, because it's like, you know what? There's something about us Cancers. I think we like building safe, wholesome little community spaces, maybe. So I guess before we get into it, oh my gosh, thank you again so much, Options, Fun, and Wealth, and Twixie, thank you so much. And thank you also so much to Vincent, who had donated before the stream started. Thank you, Vincent. Thank you so much, yes. Having a little date night, mostly with my dog. My lipstick does not match my nails, but just for people, the two of you that care about makeup stuff, I will say this. I have been trying the Maybelline vinyl liquid lips thing. I don't know. It's like vinyl something. Let me see what it is. Vinyl. Yeah, it's a long freaking name. The Maybelline Super Stay Vinyl Ink Long Lasting Liquid Lipstick. There we go, that's the whole name. And I was very skeptical at first, but the key is you gotta shake it for like 45 seconds before you put it on, and it's shiny. It doesn't come off the lips. I have been desperately looking for a new liquid lipstick to try out, and this seems to work pretty well. I'm not like as in love with it as I could be because the color selection isn't really there. Like I don't really have like a purple or anything yet. There's a couple reds, mostly nudes, some pinks, things like that. I think there's like a black and like a dark purple. If they could make some more purpley orangey shades, I would be sold, but they need to expand the color range, I think, a little bit. But how many people want a shiny orange lipstick? Probably me and like 5 people. Yeah, it takes a while to find something. I'm very picky about applicator is my problem. I know I could buy other liquid lipsticks, but I very much like a doe foot applicator. If it's a paddle applicator, I won't use it. I feel like they always break. I don't really like them that much, and so I don't, like, I have a couple that I'll use, but I just find them to be so much harder to apply when it's, no, again, like 5 people know what I'm talking about. Paddle versus doe foot applicator for liquid lipstick. It's a very 2016 makeup problem to have. Yeah. It is comfortable. I would say you definitely notice it on your lips, but it's not drying at all. Like, it doesn't emphasize your lines or anything. And I usually, and this is true for like all my lipsticks, I will always put on like SPF chapstick beforehand, and then I'll blot it off. Like I'll put on a lot and then I'll blot it off before I put on liquid lipstick, and it helps it not be as dry. But I find that these have like a little bit of like a tacky, sticky texture, even though nothing's actually coming off your lips for like the first maybe half an hour you have it on, and then after that it really goes away. You don't really notice you have it on. Like I wore not this color, but a different one when I was out for my birthday. And I lasted the whole day wearing it with like basically no smudging. Like my eyeliner had come up, everything else had come off my face before the liquid lipstick did. It stuck on there through like walking around the city and trying on clothes and like being in the sunshine and eating food and drinking and all of that. So it lasted pretty well. Oh, thank you, Lexi. Your work has been such a huge source of inspiration, a huge source of helpful info and inspiration for us over the past year from 2 fellow July babies. Happy birthday. Well, also happy birthday to you, fellow July baby. I just feel like we're like in the July baby zone here, and I love it. So today we are doing just a normal FAQ like usual. I'm not really doing anything like special for my birthday on the stream. I wanted to like maybe have cake or something, but I just could not find a vegan cake in time. And like it's like harder than you would think to just be able to get a pre-made vegan cake. Like you can't do, well, maybe like Safeway or like Fred Meyer maybe. Sometimes they have like frozen vegan cheesecake in like the gluten-free section, and like usually I have to settle for that, but we're not doing that this time around. So we're just hanging out. We're gonna have a regular old FAQ and do that. Beauty Bakery has the best black liquid lipstick in my humble opinion. I will have to keep that in mind because I very rarely will wear a liquid black lipstick, especially on camera, because I find that like it's so easy to tell imperfections even from far away in like a black lipstick. So I don't tend to wear it a lot. I'll wear it like out if I'm at a party, but if I'm on camera, I won't really wear it just because I'm like, oh no, you're gonna see every flaw. And if it comes off on my water bottle, it's gonna get on my teeth. And like I just can't. Like it's one thing if you're out and about and a friend's like, hey, you have lipstick on your teeth, and it's another thing when it's like you play back a video you spent 3 hours making and go, fucking lipstick on my teeth the entire time. Like, that just, I know, I made a noise, didn't I, sweet angel? I did. It's okay though, honey. She has been such a good girl. We've been going on walks lately more often. She's been really loving that. So Banditti life is fantastic at the minute. She loves going outside. She loves getting to go on the WALKs. Anyone else around here have to call walks WALKs around their dogs because the dog learned what walk meant? That was my family growing up. Ooh, I don't actually have a whole, there is a Whole Foods in the city, but there's not one close to where I live. But I'm very excited because my favorite vegan protein bar is coming to Whole Foods, and I'm excited to not have to buy it in bulk on Amazon anymore, so that'll be good for me. Okay, all right, just for people who are new here, because we actually have quite a number of new people on the channel from the last couple of videos talking about like asexuality and polyamory. I don't know what it is. I think a lot of it's very interesting. So the video that I did on color blindness, a lot of people that were asexual were like recommended the video, and a lot of people that thought it said color blindness were recommended the video. And so now there's a lot of people who have no idea what my channel's about. They just like saw that one video and were like, I'm asexual, how did I get here? So if you're one of those people, hi, hello, we love the new people. Thank you so much for joining us on this Friday. And I talk about all kinds of things. I do have some more asexuality videos coming up soon, just because I haven't like talked about it that much in the past year, and I feel like I just have like so many ideas about that in my brain right now, and it should be fun and interesting to talk about it more, and so look forward to that. And other than that, this is an interactive Q&A we do every Friday. We've been doing it for years, as you can tell, because I think this is stream 232. So we've been doing this for a hot minute, years and years. And we basically come here, hang out for 2 hours on a Friday. You guys ask questions, we answer them, we go through them in the order they come in. So if you're here early or if you do a super chat, that is the best way to make sure that your question gets answered. And it's just like, it's a really nice little community. We don't have like thousands of people watching, so it's a really good opportunity to interact pretty directly and get to know your fellow subscribers, and also like pick their brains about stuff, because I don't know everything about everything, and oftentimes you do get some really great answers from other members of the community, and I really appreciate that. Long-time subscriber, first time to catch a live. Well, welcome so much. I think the other thing that we need to know before we get started here just really quickly is 18 plus only, so please do not be here if you're not at least 18. Oh, thank you so much. Twitchy Yogi donated $20. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Happy birthday.
So I should have like done like this is specific. I mean, honestly though, like probably this is gonna go for, this is so silly. So my microphone, I had a better microphone before, and then I sent out my old microphone to be repaired, and then the quote that they got me to repair the microphone is $10 less than the full price of the microphone new. So instead, I'm just gonna hop over on eBay at some point and probably bid on like an open box microphone and just do that because that seems to work out pretty well for most of my other tech equipment. But that's like the main thing is just like I was like one tiny thing broke and now they're like, all right, it's gonna cost you $240 and it's like, wait, the full price of the microphone by itself is like $260 something. So what do we? What? How can it be that expensive? So, in the meantime, we are using this, but I do think I prefer my other microphone just a little bit better. There's just features about each one that's different, and I don't know. I just like my other one a little bit better. But that's me. So I want to talk about my YouTube channel for a little bit because we have been on YouTube now for a while, and it's like, like when I think about this, I used to not understand it when YouTubers would say like, oh, I have been doing YouTube forever. I can't believe it. I've been doing YouTube since 2008. I've been doing it for 10 years. Like, wow, that's so wild. Like, how do you not think about, like, that's so much time passing. That's so much of your life. Like, YouTubers that started when they were, like, freshmen in high school, and then now they do, like, family vlogs or something like that. I actually don't know people that do that, but, because I don't really watch family vlogs. But I'm sure somebody does. And on my channel, I got started... Just going to my channel page, you go to my about section, it says, I joined July 4th of 2015. And that was the first year I was in the BDSM community. I had joined that spring it was after winter break. I think it was before like spring break. So it was probably like sometime around like March, April. I had joined the BDSM community following a breakup from a vanilla relationship that was very dramatic, and I basically got over it in like a couple of days and then went like, screw it, like I want to do kink stuff, I'm gonna go out and do it, I'm gonna go and find it. And so that's what I ended up doing. And then I got really involved in the online pet play community on Instagram especially, and I was just like a random person that was like participating in this community. Like I wasn't like a thought leader or like an educator or anything at that point. I was just like, not that I'm a thought leader now, but you know what I mean, right? Like I wasn't trying to do anything other than find like-minded people that were into the same things that I was. And even over the last couple of months that I had been learning stuff and like reading books, and I had gone to events at a local dungeon because I had one, and I went to like a pet play night and it was great. And I realized that I was learning more than the other people around me were. And they, like, it wasn't that people were stupid or they didn't want to learn. They just, like, didn't have the resources. And so I would just, like, post a random cute photo of, like, wearing some ears or a collar I bought or whatever. And then somebody would be like, hey, what's pet play about? What's BDSM? How do I know I like doing this? How can you pick what kind of pet you are? And I got inspired to start making YouTube videos because I was getting so many questions from people, and I was like, well, like, no one else is talking about this, so I guess I need to. Because at the time, especially on YouTube, there was like a handful of YouTubers that like occasionally made videos about kitten play and things like that, but they didn't really like consistently post content. And it was usually focused around like stuff that you had bought. It was like, oh, here's new ears and new tails and new this. And I definitely did that as well. Like I made review videos as my first couple of videos because that's like what felt comfortable and what other people were doing, and that was getting engagement. And like I wasn't thinking in terms of like content brain yet, but like other people wanted to see that, and so I made it. But eventually I also found out that like it's not just about like the gear and what you buy. People also want to know about like, okay, like this looks cute. What the heck is it? How do I get started? Where do I find a dungeon? How do I find a dom? How do I find a daddy? Like, what's this about? And so it just kind of like spiraled off into like becoming something that I made regular content for. And I didn't really intend for it to be like, if you go back to my early like BDSM 101 videos, I'm like, I probably only have like 4 videos left to make. And like, here I am like still making BDSM 101 content so many years later. And it's been like a blessing to be on YouTube and doing this as a career for as long as I've been doing it. Because it wasn't a career at first, right? Like when I got started doing YouTube, I was still going to university, and I graduated and I had an office job, and like it was in my career field that I had studied for. And I did that for a long time. And eventually, it just came to a point where I couldn't really balance the two anymore, and I had to make a decision about like either I have to give up YouTube or I have to like give up my vanilla job. And it just made more sense to give up the vanilla job, because like how many like at what other point in history would this be possible, right? Like if I was 10 years too early or 10 years later, I would not be in the position that I'm in right now. Like I maybe could have done something like Lacey Green did, you know, back in 2008. Like I could have done maybe some early YouTube content that was similar to what I'm making now. But, you know, if I had just missed this window of like what YouTube is at the present moment, I don't think I could have the career that I had. Because even in 2008, right, like people were making money on YouTube. It wasn't a career. You didn't do this to make money. You did it because you had ideas you wanted to share, or you liked making films or sketches or something, or you just wanted to be funny online and show off like your humor. And I just was so lucky with the timing of everything. And you know, What's a Safe Word was also around making videos kind of around the time that I started making them. We didn't cross paths until later, but for a while it was really kind of just like me and then Pup Amp and Mr. Christopher and then Morgan Thorne, and other people started to do it. But basically everyone that was around at the time I started making YouTube videos has like long gone. Like their channels are way, like if people remember like Christina Corruption, and who's the chick with the English chick with the blue hair that was a kitten player? Like she also did YouTube videos, and Mint Kismet, and like, so there are a couple other people who made like kitten play related videos that are still like their channels are around, but a lot of them are just completely wiped out and they're no longer here. And it's just like very fortunate that I get to be here. And honestly, I feel, again, I feel so lucky. I feel so privileged to get to be here and doing this as a job. And YouTube does not always make it easy. YouTube does not make this easy necessarily, because, you know, there is a lot of problems with the rules of YouTube and how things are enforced. And like, I don't even know how to explain to people that don't do YouTube, like how it actually works on the back end. But if I'm uploading a video, I have to report to YouTube how it fits into their advertising guidelines. I think even if I'm not monetizing the video. And so I have to pick from a couple of different sections of like how it matches their content, and if anything in it should be flagged as not being advertiser friendly. But the guidelines they give you to pick from when you're picking for yourself, and the rules that they use when they're judging how you pick what thing your video falls under, are two different things, right? So I found out recently, in the last couple of months, that YouTube actually has a specific new section in their guidelines where essentially anything that involves like mention of adult content, anything that involves the mention of sex workers or fetishes, even if educational in nature, talking about personal experiences, that is demonetizable. And it's been very confusing and difficult to know what direction YouTube's currently going in, and like how much longer like this is going to be viable as a platform, not just for myself, but like anyone that talks about any kind of things related to sex, right? Like if you're a YouTuber that's like a trans man talking about Packers, or you're a lesbian YouTuber that talks about like sex as a lesbian woman for the first time, like any of that stuff, and even stuff that isn't like obliquely fetish, YouTube will categorize as being a fetish, because YouTube does not understand non-sexual BDSM versus fetishes, or like fetishistic content versus educational life stories, you know? And it's difficult because, you know, if you go through, and I've talked about this many times before, and thank you so much for the happy birthday wishes as well. Doing my birthday celebration brunch with the polycule, sending out good positive energy to everyone in the chat too. That sounds so beautiful. I love it. A poly brunch. Truly, brunch is the most polyamorous friendly meal. I love it. I don't know why. Brunch, very poly. And I love it. That's so cute. I love it. You're giving Dita Von Teese vibes today. Thank you so much. My goal, so I usually have like a goal for myself every year of like a new skill I want to learn beauty-wise. Like if it's like doing my eyebrows or liquid lipstick or putting on false eyelashes. And this year, I want to figure out how to style my hair with some kind of like wave and body to it. Because you can see this is just my hair. I have like, what is it, 1A hair? Like I have perfectly like straight hair, no bend to it at all, very fine. and it's been very difficult to find a way to get it. Like, I would love to have like Hollywood waves. Like, I'd love to have that look. That's so pretty to me, and I cannot freaking do it with heat styling. So I'm trying to navigate figuring out ways to do like overnight curls. And my hair is like too long for pin curls. When it was shorter, I could do foam rollers and pin curls in it, and I could get like a pretty nice curl with it that lasted for a while. And like, it wasn't perfect, but I could troubleshoot it more to make it work. But now it's too long and it gets too weighed down doing it that way. So yeah, we're on a journey. We're on a hair journey this year, figuring out how to do my hair, not just like perfectly straight all the time. But my hair, I have literally stunned hairdressers with them trying to heat style my hair. They're like, oh, don't worry, I've got this. They get all of their sprays and they got out their fancy $200 iron and they think, I got this. They start doing it, and then like it goes from curly to like whoosh, like in an instant. They're like, oh, that doesn't normally happen. Bless them. I try very hard to make it work, but so far it has not worked out for me. So we're doing non-heat styles. I do have one styling iron that does work pretty well for me. It's the Bedhead triple waver. It's like the triple barrel style wave. Just in case anyone's like, I also have very fine hair and I'm struggling. I do like that one. The main reason why I want to learn a different thing is because that does involve me having to use a very high level of heat on my hair, and like it's a lot of hairspray and a lot, like it's an intensive process to get it right, and I want something that I can like sleep in overnight or wear around during the day and like get that to be a thing that works. Overnight curls are fantastic. You'll probably need a bonnet. Yeah, I do have a silk, like well, not silk actually, it's a satin bonnet, but like one of those like sleep bonnet things. I do have one of those, and I do have like a satin pillowcase, so that's good. It's hard to sleep in them, but I wake up at 5 and work at 11, so I just put them in right when I wake up until it works. Okay, yeah, good point. I also know a lot of people, they get like the, like, I don't know what they're called, but it's like the forced air, like an air bonnet basically, where it's sort of like the mini version of the thing you see in a hair salon where it like dries your hair for you. And I think people like that too, but like I don't really, you know, I don't have any problem like wearing them to sleep. I do have opinions about the YouTube video that you mentioned. We're going to finish this thought first. I feel like Mondo Granny Core when I'm doing my housework in the middle. I somehow picture what you mean by that, yes. It's like kryptonite. It truly is. Like, I don't try. I'm not saying that to brag. Like, it's sad. Like, I see people that have really beautiful, like, I really would love to have just, like, either, like, a Hollywood wave or just, like, a little bit, like, just, like, one, you know, like this, right? Like, just, like, one or two big waves in my hair. That would be great. If I could just do that, awesome. Can't do it, though. I've tried. It doesn't work. And like that's like my whole family's that way. We just are very, very sleek, straight-haired people. So, yeah, it is. Anyways, because talking about the history of my channel a little bit more, like I started making videos and a lot of people were around at the time that are no longer around anymore. And I know people kind of wonder sometimes, okay, you've been doing YouTube for 8 years, like how are you going to keep making YouTube videos? How do you not run out of topics? And I genuinely don't worry about that. Like as I've mentioned many times before, I do keep a list on my phone of all the topics I want to talk about, and it's always growing. It's very rarely shrinking. If it does, it's like I get through 3 ideas and I add 2 more, especially because I also have started to cover more like reaction content and current events. That also kind of helps like space out maybe the more like formal sit-down BDSM 101 content. And I do have some more reaction content coming up, and I'm hoping it's going to be, I realize there's like I say reaction content, and I think what comes to mind for a lot of people is it's a very like lazy process. Like you just play a YouTube video and you say whether random crap comes to mind. And there are definitely YouTubers where they just like, they go, hey audience, send me videos, and then they just like watch videos that their audience sends them, and then they get like fucking 500,000 views, and it's just them being like, LOL, alpha males are dumb for like 20 minutes. And I'm like, I'm in the wrong part of YouTube. But really, honestly, like I do like making content where like the reaction is also educational and is also kind of inserting some like nuance or other thoughts. So we're doing more like that. I have a Vice article I'm going to be reading through and like talking about, and it's about like the history of pet play, which on the internet, which is interesting and I think sort of nice to talk about. And what I'm doing on an asexual that did an interview for a far-right news organization, and it's like a 6-minute long video, and like talking about the background of that, and then like some of the recent, frankly, acephobia that has been happening on Twitter, and breaking that down a little bit, and my experience of it, because I somehow got quote tweeted by the second biggest TERF after J.K. Rowling, and got involved in that way. So I thought that could be interesting to talk about. So lots of interesting content coming. I always have more ideas and things that I want to revisit that are older, and just kind of put my own flavor on everything. So YouTube, I'm going to keep doing it. I would love to, knock on wood, get to 10 years of doing YouTube. That would be amazing. I think if I could do that, it would make up for having trouble explaining YouTube on a CV in the future. Because, like, YouTube's not forever, right? Like, I'm very aware that some sort of new social media will come along, or my kind of content I make gets like completely banned from YouTube. Like, that's always a possibility, right? Like, I'm aware that at some point I will probably have to like go back to school or go to other social media or do something else with my life that's not just this. But for what it is right now, I'm enjoying it. I'm on the ride. I want to keep making content. I want to keep making YouTube videos and just be on my own little niche in the internet for as long as I'm allowed to be here. And who knows, right? Like, maybe Threads will be the next big thing. I doubt Threads will be the next big thing because it's not allowed in the EU, and so that's kind of like a huge part of the user base is not really supposed to be around. We're not going to be around on their new platform, but we'll see. I have not made a Threads account yet. I would love to know if anyone here is on Threads. I'm a little bit nervous because Instagram is about as ban happy as TikTok is. Thank you. Laylock. I've heard Kick was a lot better as a platform for creators. Have you thought about switching there? There's not really like this is the same problem that like Vimeo and a lot of other platforms have, is like Kick is also, first of all, we could just go into a whole conversation about this. Kick is owned by another company called Stake, which is a gambling website. And so most of the people that are on Kick are, I think I'm getting this, I may be mixing something up here, but if I am, correct me, but this is what I think it is. Kick is owned by Stake.com, which is a gambling website that used to basically pay streamers to gamble and promote gambling to their oftentimes underage followers. And so Kick was created as a way to basically give their biggest gambling streamers a way to still have a streaming platform to promote gambling on. And it's kind of like an unmoderated hot mess of garbage. And the people that are on there, even the really, really big creators that went on there, like Aiden Ross and a couple others that used to get like crazy numbers of concurrent viewers on Twitch, now they're on Kick, and they're like, they're all the way down here, right? They're barely relevant anymore. Because Kick doesn't really, like, Kick kind of takes your viewers off of Twitch and puts them somewhere else, but it doesn't necessarily give you new viewers or people who like go to Kick looking for content, right? People don't go, I want to go on Kick and see who's streaming talking about BDSM. Like, I mean, in terms of having freedom to do whatever, sure, absolutely. But I like it when people don't use racial slurs in my chat and there's moderation of some kind, so probably not. But I like the idea. I like the concept that it could be a thing. Kick, yeah, there's KIK, which is, do people still use that? That was like a Snapchat era thing. It's a different thing. It's a streaming platform similar to Twitch. It's not the other Kick, which I guess people still use, but not really. Oh, thank you for the great videos. Really enjoying your catalog. Thank you so much. I have many things in my catalog. That is for sure true. Threads is mobile only, and I'm at home for 18 to 20 hours of the day where I just use my laptop. Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the big things, too, is, like, they really rushed it, right? Like, it's not in the EU, it's mobile only, you have to link it to an existing Instagram account, and I don't want to be on there for many reasons. I don't want to be on there because they're probably going to censor, if they have not already, sex workers and sex work-related content and BDSM and just, like, sex content in general. I really don't want something to happen to my Threads account that leads to my Instagram account also being deactivated or deleted, because Instagram, I was on Instagram basically within a couple of months of me being part of the BDSM community. And so, like, I have photos on there from, like, the first time that I went to, like, not to a BDSM club, but, like, the first time I did something new with a partner, the first time I wore pet plate ears ever, the first time I went to like a BDSM night at a goth club. Like that's all on there, and I really don't want to lose that. And so, I mean, like, I could make a backup account and, like, probably use that instead. But the problem with that is, like, the backup account, even if I saved the photos on there, because I do already have backups of those, even if I did that, I wouldn't have, like, the comments and the interaction. And, like, I want to preserve that. You know, I want to preserve those old interactions of things that are long since no longer around or no longer a topic of conversation. But it's like a memory box for me, and so I'm not really on there too much because I'm so paranoid that if I post on there anything, Instagram's gonna be like, oh, she posted. Wait, no, that's illegal now. Delete account. Like, I'm just so paranoid about that happening. I don't go on there. But maybe I could find a way to do it, and it might be interesting. Get in there early, because I feel like I could have been, if I was willing to compromise some of my feelings on censorship, I could have been really big on TikTok. But I did not do that. I could have been a TikToker, but I missed that boat because I was like, there's like the censorship and the deleting of accounts all the time. I just don't want to deal with that. And like maybe I can get in early on Threads and make a difference on there for sex education and for kink and asexuality, but probably not. But yeah, I never had a MySpace, and like I had a Facebook account many years ago now. Like I basically deleted it around the time that I started doing YouTube, and when I like before that doing kink stuff. So I haven't had a Facebook in a long time. But like on the one hand, I sort of miss those memories, but on the other, it's like, do I really need to like have a photo from like everything I did in high school? Like, do I really need to? Like, I just don't feel connected to that because it feels like such a different person, a different time, but. Yeah, it is definitely a memory time capsule for me. TikTok money is garbage anyways. Yeah, but that's the thing is like, it's like, I don't even really think about it in terms of a way of like making money. Because like, I don't make money on Twitter either. But it's a way of like connecting to new people and like being part of a larger conversation. And I think that can be really important, especially when it's like, for example, like another asexual educator goes viral on Twitter for a pride parade photo, and then suddenly Blair White and Ollie London and Ben Shapiro or whoever are all commenting on it and being like, this doesn't seem real, LOL, attention seeker, everyone is desperate to be oppressed, blah blah blah, like type stuff. Like, I want to be able to like kind of be there when that happens and like comment on it and offer a different perspective, and like, you know, I want to do that stuff. Like, that's important to me. And also just because YouTube is like, you know, everyone's kind of content. Oh, the dog's on the move. Dog is on the move. Doggo, what's so cute? It's a cute little baby. She's gonna get brushed after this. Listen, my plans for tonight, I'm gonna be living large, okay? I'm gonna go downstairs after the stream. I am gonna get a giant pot boiling to make jam. So I can can fresh homemade jam later. I'm gonna pet my dog on the couch and brush her and do her grooming routine while I'm waiting for the water to boil. And then I'm gonna finish editing a video. That's gonna be my night. It's gonna be awesome because I have the kitchen and it's all mine tonight. I don't have to worry about somebody trying to make something on the stovetop. I am looking forward to it. I'm going to be making a raspberry and honeysuckle jam tonight. That's my hot date. She's very tiny legs. Actually, her legs are pretty long, but they're very covered with floof, and so they don't look very long. But that's basically it. Okay. She definitely prefers the carpet, that's for sure. She alternates normally. I think it's just like she gets hot in her bed. But I bought her a cooling mat and she doesn't want to lay on it. She doesn't like it. So she normally goes and finds some like hardwood or like tile to lay on when it gets like really warm, but yeah. Strawberry chocolate jam. Well, that sounds fun. This is like canning jam, so it's meant to last for a while, but I love it. I also got, I got these new apricots at the store that are called angel cots. And they're like white apricots, and I kind of want to turn those into jam. Somebody needs to stop me. I'm turning into an evil witch. I'm turning into an evil witch that makes jam. But it's fun. Okay, all right, let's maybe get into some questions. Oh, what kind of jam though? If it makes you feel any better, I'm shampooing my carpets. Okay, that sounds like fun though. Okay, I say this, but I'm joking, not because I am like my life's lame and boring and I should be doing something else, but because like it feels so comfortable. Like I feel like I like doing that. I like having a relaxing evening of reading a book outside and grooming my dog and making jam and then editing a video. Like that's like basically ideal for me. And maybe that's because I'm asexual. I'm like, ooh, staying home and making jam sounds like fun. But the jam I'm making tonight is raspberry jam and then honeysuckle. And I don't know if I have enough canning lids to be able to do all of it tonight, but it's going to be a lot because I have a lot of raspberries. So, yeah. This is literally my life. Well, you know what? The life of a YouTuber and the life of a homemaker are not necessarily so different. But there's a reason there's a lot of mommy vloggers, I suppose. It's because there's a lot of overlap there. But I feel like I genuinely, like, I love being outside. I love, like, I know that the stereotype is that goths, we hate the sunshine. It's the worst. But I grew up in Florida, so, like, I was a sun baby. I'm a sun and water baby. I can't help it. I love being out in, like, the dappled shade underneath a tree is just, like, so good. It's the best. All right, let's get to questions. Oh, yes, we didn't even finish. We didn't even say the part. Okay, so, like, read the rules. There's an FAQ down below. 18 plus only. I don't give medical advice. I'm not your psychiatrist, not a doctor. Don't ask me about your bruise. Basically what you need to know. Yes, it's definitely finding peace in the small and quiet moments. Absolutely. Okay, so let's get into some questions because I saw a couple at the beginning and I want to see if we can get to those. Honestly, I don't really know. I don't know if there's any correlation with many people who are into BDSM being cancer signs, but somebody who knows more about astrology can tell me if there's any meaning to that. I also just feel like June and July are like common birthday months. And like September. For some reason, not as much August. Like it skips from like early July to like September for some reason. Oh, Torty Ragdoll is a kitty. That sounds very cute. Ragdoll cats are my favorite kind of cat. I gotta say, living with a cat now, I still don't fully understand cats. Like, I don't think I ever will. Does anyone truly know about cats? Because I don't. And I see this cat, and how she spends her days, and I go, what do you like, cat? What do you want? I don't get it. Like with my dog, I know what she likes. She tells me with all of her body language and her facial expressions and everything else and her tail wagging. But I just feel like cats are normally just like either annoyed or like passively accepting. Like they don't necessarily like communicate as maybe, and I realize that like cat body language is different, and like I'm sure I could read some more guides about cat body language and then understand more. But it's like the things that she doesn't like versus does like, and I'm like, wait, how is there a difference? Like, what's happening here? And that's what I don't necessarily understand. But cats truly are a mystery. I feel like most of the polys I meet are August babies. You know what? True, though. I just thought about that. I'm like, when are the people who have birthdays that I know? And it's like a lot of August babies, actually. So that's probably accurate. All right. No, I do not have a birthday hat. I wish I did, though. I think she has a birthday hat. I have a birthday hat for her. But I did not want to torture her with it because it's already very hot outside. Yeah, you get a 2-minute warning like in football before I start streaming. Yeah, you guys get yeah, all right, everybody get ready. I'm about to start. Yeah. I did have a fun birthday. Thank you for asking. I had a great time. Long-lasting lipstick. Talk about alliteration. Yep. Yeah, it is comfortable. I think I answered that. I mean, we'll see how long it lasts. You guys can tell through the stream. You can tell me if it wears off or not. I was busy putting in the super chat. I didn't get the name of the lipstick. It is, we went over this. It is the Maybelline Super Stay Vinyl Ink Longwear Liquid Lip Color. And I want to say this shade is the color Wicked. I want to say this one's Wicked because it's kind of like a neutral, I don't know how it is, kind of like a neutral classic blue-red. And it's very comfortable. And then the Beauty Bakery recommendation, I will check that one out. The Vanta Black liquid lipstick, I think I've heard that before, and I also have not tried it. I have an asymmetrical lip shape that looks like JoJo Bizarre Hot Boy with lip oil, but a hot mess in a distinctly no way with pigmented lipstick, and I never figured it out. And I'm on year 17 of the goth phase. It's true. I mean, I feel like with liquid lipstick and like a lip pencil, you can definitely like correct asymmetry, because like I have no top lip. I'm not as bad as some people's lips are. Like I have a lip at all, which is like, I should count my blessings really with my background, because I'm Welsh, I'm Irish, I'm Scottish. I didn't get any of the collagen genes, okay? My people, we don't have collagen. But I, like the lip shape, I have a little bit of it. I just exaggerated a little bit. But if it's like, if the lip line itself, like the vermilion border is like very like asymmetric on one side or the other, that can be more difficult to correct, but it is a whole process. And I think like there's ways to fix that, but I'm not an expert. I used to work at an anarchist collective bakery, and we were only like one of only 4 places in the whole city at the time that specialized in vegan cakes. Okay, what is this? Because I noticed this weekend. I thought about this, and I was out, and one of the places I went to for my birthday was a vegan anarchist like commune bakery shit, and it's all vegan. And I was like, why do vegans do more praxis than every fucking political streamer combined? That's my hot take for my birthday, is fucking anarcho-communist vegans do more for community organizing and living their values than political streamers on Twitch do. And it just is what it is. Like, you know, like the fucking, like the anarchist bookstore in town, I'm pretty sure that's ran by vegans, right? Like most of the vegan restaurants I know in town, like you walk inside and it's like, here's a flyer for like organizing for your like laborers union, here's organizing to form a tenant union, here's like a food bank that's open to everyone. Like it's very like, it's like what people say they want to do, and I'm so glad they do it, but it's just funny that for some reason it's like the vegans are doing it. It is the vegans who are doing it. No hate to anyone that's not vegan, of course. I just think that that's like a funny thing, because like people on the internet have lots of discourse about the vegans being wrong about stuff, and it's like somehow they are, like they run all the anarchy related things, like the anarcho-communist fucking bookstore, the bakery, they're there. I worked at an anarchist bookstore in college, and there were more vegans working there than lesbians I dated. That's funny. That's good. It just like I don't know what it is. It just motivates people in some unique way that being a Twitch streamer does not. Okay, I'm gonna stop shitting on the Twitch streamers before anyone like comes after me too much. But I love it. It's a great idea. I made my first YouTube video in 2006, but that was my old account. I was 17. I mean, maybe that's good. That's lost to time. I'm really glad I didn't have YouTube videos from when I was like young. Like I never made YouTube content until I started talking about it when I was an adult. But I could not imagine having like, I don't know, me, not that I would do this or did do this, but like the idea of like what most people do when they're on YouTube at 13, which is like, I'm gonna make a lip sync cover of my favorite song, and like it's just like it's permanently there, and it's like, even if you've forgotten about it, somebody else will find it. And that's always like a scary concept to me. Happy B-Day, Evie. Today I learned a lot of kinky people have birthdays in July. I mean, we're all learning. We're all learning that today. It's probably good that no one can find the videos. And then the polycule brunch, we love that. Long-time subscriber, but newish patron here. Happy belated birthday. I've learned a lot from your content and appreciate what you do so much. Thank you so much, Jay. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Oh, pillow rollers. Oh, that's a good idea. I love that I'm figuring out how to work with my hair, not fight it. Yes, you have to work with what it is. And like, sometimes it's a process. Do you know about the viral YouTube video with the guy using Nair in his butt and it shows his hole? It's up on YouTube, yet your content is too much. Okay, Rick, I totally know what you're talking about. So for people who don't know what that is, I don't recommend looking it up, and I don't remember what the channel is called anyways, but there is somebody who is also a TikToker that makes like salacious content related to his gay relationships and being a gay man and like enemas and using Nair to remove hair from your butthole and just like the most graphic stuff you could imagine. Now, when I saw this video originally, before I went into it, what I thought was going to happen is we were going to get like a demonstration of like how to use the Nair, but he would be like, I don't know, like wearing underpants while applying it or something, and it would be sort of like, you know, when a YouTuber does like a shampoo ad and then they are wearing a swimsuit while they do the ad. I thought we were gonna get one of those. No. This within like 30 seconds. This, like, maybe not literally, but like very quickly into the video, this man is showing full gaping asshole and balls on camera to show you how to remove hair from your butt crack using Nair. Now, personally, my opinion is, as somebody that also prepares for anal sex on occasion, I do not recommend using Nair on your butthole. Don't use it anywhere near a mucous membrane of any kind, actually. Very bad idea. Don't do it. Just don't go there. Using a razor is fine. I think it works perfectly well, and I feel like Nair is always patchy anyways, so whatever. So this guy just like, I guess it's technically educational, but like, you didn't have to show full asshole on camera. That was completely unnecessary to this process. You could have used an anatomical model. You could have used a drawing instead. You could have done anything else besides showing your full gaping asshole on camera. And the insane part of this is he has a lot of subscribers, he has a lot of videos that get a lot of views. This is being recommended to a lot of people, and it was age restricted based on community guidelines, but it was deemed educational. So it's fine. Like, it was fine till, and I'm like, I can't even say the word sex in a video anymore. I cannot say the word sex without getting demonetized. But a video where you share, again, full gaping asshole is shown on screen, that's acceptable. And I think in the grand scheme of things, if I could have YouTube be any way that I wanted it to be, I think that kind of content by itself is fine. If you want to see bare asshole on camera for the educational purpose of hair removal, fine, great. All I want, the only thing I want, is I want there to be equal rules applied equally, which I understand is very difficult to do because YouTube has to somehow, in a nuanced way, understand what this content is about enough to be able to tell a difference between someone like me who is making educational content, generally not like intense, personal, salacious stories, but like education, versus somebody who's making a video on like how to be a perfect slave for a dominatrix, where she's like whisper ASMRing the entire time about how you're gonna be a worthless, stupid little slut and how you're never gonna be good enough for goddess or like whatever. Like, they just do like whisper ASMR stuff the entire time, and it's clearly meant to be like like, to my eyes, I clearly see it as intentionally being like advertisement for online services, or like salacious and meant to be used as jerk-off material, essentially. And YouTube has to look at my content and look at that content and go, what's the line here between this and this other thing? And I'm aware that there are people that will jerk off to literally anything, so it doesn't really matter how you present it, because people are going to do what they want about it regardless of how you actually present it or frame it. And all I want is, like, if YouTube could just, like, make it equal across the board, we're like, okay, we can have nair asshole, and we can talk about pelvic inflammatory disease, or we can talk about IUD insertions, or we can talk about safe choking practices, or safer choking practices more accurately, or flogging technique. And all of these are treated the same because we understand that human sexuality and intimacy is a very diverse experience, and everyone's going to come into it with different perspectives and motivations and desires. And, like, as long as you're not intentionally doing it to, like, be seductive, like, that should be what's more important versus the actual content. And then, like, maybe YouTube, when they restrict a video and they age restrict it, like, you can still have it appear in recommendations if somebody is logged in to an 18 plus account. And currently the way that it works is if you have a video that is demonetized or age gated, you do not have that video recommended. You do not have that video show up as much in search results or in sub feeds or anything like that. And I think we need to get rid of that and have it be more like along what people actually intend, and how I think it would make sense to work, which is don't show it to kids. Yeah, don't recommend the nair asshole video to an 8-year-old watching a Minecraft video just because it has 2 million views. Okay, fine. But maybe the solution isn't to not recommend it ever at all, but to only recommend it in certain instances, because you already have a giant algorithm. So why can't you teach the algorithm to be like, show kids content to kids, show adult content to adults? Why is this difficult, YouTube? I truly do not know, but alas, it seems to be. And I would just really like that. And maybe even there was an idea I had in my head of, like, okay, if content is meant to be 18 plus and it is age restricted, what if we did put it in recommendations and other places, like in searches, but then YouTube had, like, an overlay, like a text overlay, and, like, you know how they have the timestamp in the bottom right corner of a video where it shows you that it's like 34 minutes and 26 seconds. Like, next to that, put in bigger letters in, like, a red font, like 18 plus if it's adult content, or like 20 plus or 21, like whatever it is based on the jurisdiction that is connected to the whatever IP the person that's watching the video is connected to. Like, there is some kind of way to indicate, or maybe like M for mature, right? Maybe that's more general. You can indicate to an audience this is like a mature subject video before they even click on it. That would be really good for videos that are also like news videos with distressing content in them. Like, I may want to know about, like, if inflation in the UK is transitory or not right now. I'm just a nerd like that, and I want to know about the situation of inflation in the UK. But just because I've watched that doesn't mean I want to see a video of, like, migrants drowning in the Mediterranean, or I want to see people dying in a house fire, right? Like, I don't want to necessarily see that, and so I would want to know before I clicked on a news video what I was actually going to be, you know, seeing in that video. So anyways, that's my suggestion for YouTube. Thank you for listening to me, YouTube. Please take my ideas. I don't really know if that would actually work. YouTube should hire you for their YouTube guidelines. Your perspective is way better than what YouTube has now. My charitable interpretation of how YouTube operates is that the problem is not YouTube doesn't know what to do, is that it's such a big company, and every change they want to do and any alteration they make to the service is such a massive, massive undertaking that it takes a very long time to do. There's a huge butterfly effect, and they can only really reasonably do very small things. And so trying to say something like, show recommended videos to people that are logged in with 18 plus accounts, that's very easy to say. I am sure it is very difficult to execute on a large scale like with YouTube. because if it's anything like any other tech company that I know about from having dated people that worked at them, it's basically like fucking sticks hot glued together and like some tape, and like it's like, and they've scaffolded this, they've made scaffolding and turned it into a whole business model, but really just it's fucking twigs. It's like a bird's nest. Like that's basically what it is. Not to be a big YouTube apologist, but one problem is that the system takes 30,000 hours of video in an hour, and the automated moderation has to be fast enough to keep up with it, and it just can't. I mean, yeah, no, so to be clear, I want to be very clear. The distinction I am making, and I didn't clarify this, so it's a fair point. YouTube itself makes a distinction between automated restrictions and human-based moderation. Human-based moderation is also not very good because typically this is done by underpaid workers in countries where English is not the first language, where they have a different cultural context to things like talking about sexuality, and especially things like BDSM or kink. So, like, it's a miserable job. You have to deal with moderating videos that contain, like, the worst humanity has to offer, right? Is basically like slaughterhouse video moderation. Like, it's the, like, in terms of mental health outcomes, really fucking bad to be a human video like moderator and having to watch this content, because oftentimes the reported content is very, 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 very bad, and it's really not good for your mental health to consume that for 8+ hours a day. It really does a number on your brain. But YouTube, the way that it currently works is they do have, when you upload a video, they will have automatic moderation that happens based on what they think your content is like. You can then request that they do a human review, and that takes up to 2 weeks to do. And I would say about 70% of the time that I have requested a human review, they have upheld their original holding of typically it being age gated because of XYZ reason, or being demonetized because of XYZ reason. And like, that's even after a human being has supposedly looked at it and they have taken the time to do that. And now, it used to be I could do this. Now, I can't even put in a why do you think your video meets our guidelines? Why do you think we made a mistake? There used to be a way you could input that. And I actually had a whole script I typed up to explain to them, literally, line by line, how my videos do not violate each one of their guidelines. Not based on the guidelines they show me, but the guidelines that they reply with when they moderate content. So that way they know that I know what they're looking for. And now I don't have that feature. So it's just a human person looking at only my video in isolation, no feedback from me about the content of it or the context of it. And that's, I think, where, like, they, like, if you're gonna offer human moderation, like, I feel like there should be more transparency in that than what they currently do. Yeah. Yeah. As someone who has been on fanfiction sites since before I was meant to, kids will largely respect M for meaning it's not for them. Largely, not perfectly, but it is effective. Yeah, I mean, I think, like, you know, I was a 17-year-old on fanfiction websites, very briefly, and, like, I would occasionally look at mature stuff, but also I was 17, so I was basically already there, and it wasn't like I was, like, engaging with, like, the author or something, or, like, it was just, like, I was just passively consuming it, you know? But the thing I will say that I did notice is there's been talk on, like, library Twitter and library TikTok and people that are authors talking about this, talking about how right now YA and, like, middle grade fiction has, like, become extremely warped, because YA fiction, like 10, 15 years ago, publishers figured out, oh, a lot of adults are reading YA. We thought YA was like 14 to 18, and now it's like 18 to 22 or 18 to 25. And people that are, you know, actually pretty well into adulthood by 7 years, they're reading young adults still. And so now the market has shifted to where a lot of YA is much more adult thematically and lengthwise, and in terms of what the characters go through and how they relate to people, and also the age of the main characters is also older now than it used to be. And so you have kind of this gap now where you have sort of like, you know, the Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Captain Underpants, Warriors, you know, you have sort of the more like younger middle grade to like middle grade, you know, reading where, you know, you can probably read that kind of stuff until maybe like, I don't know, 7th grade or so, but then you get like too old for it and you're like lame for reading it. But now a lot of the middle grade fiction is like the old YA, and now YA is like new adult fiction, and or just like adult fiction. And so it's kind of like it's gotten all like turned around, and now we don't really have a good category of books for like that 11 to like 16 demographic. I know it's not really like, they're not really comparable readers like from like 6th grade to like junior year of high school, but like that age range as a totality, even though they would typically be marketed, you know, different books, there's not really as much for them because the subject matter that's out there is much more narrow, and it skews older, it skews dark, and it skews heavy. And the problem is that it's like you would assume then, oh, kids are like, you know, if they like reading, they're reading this dark fiction that they're not really suited for yet. That's like really overwhelming and bad for them. And what's actually happening is they're just not reading. They're not reading stories they're not prepared for. They're just not reading. And that's, you know, I think that's not great. So I guess I say this to support the point that, yeah, like younger people, like I think with video content, it's different because it's kind of that like, you know, crashing train, you know, can't look away type effect that can happen with video content. But with reading, especially, like a lot of kids that are in that age range, like they'll because like I was an avid reader, I'm still an avid reader growing up, like when I was growing up, and I'm an avid reader now. Like if I went and I was like, this isn't even a fiction book, but if I had like this book, right, and I was like reading the back cover, and I was like, okay, so this is about a 20-year-old that gets an abortion after being assaulted by her stepbrother. Okay, that's not really something I want to read as a 15-year-old. Like I would not, like I would have skipped over that kind of content because, and those kinds of books, because why would I have wanted to read that? That would have, like, I actually have a couple books that I read when I was younger that make me like irately angry. They make me so angry. I hate them so much. And a lot of them involve like sneaky assault happening in the book that was not disclosed in the description of the back of the book, and then you get a couple chapters in and then suddenly there's like a horrific assault scene, and it's like, I didn't sign up for this. And then like even as a 15-year-old, I was like, why doesn't this person need therapy afterwards? Why are they just immediately going into a happy relationship with the main male love interest? Did this even matter at all? Like, it was very confusing to read that kind of stuff as a young person. It just made me so angry. But anyways, more actual content for children. I'm not sure what it says about, I don't know, millennials, I guess, and Zoomers that were reading YA fiction that now is blurring the line between true YA and like other adult novels. Like, yeah, I don't really want to read a book about a 45-year-old mom that's been divorced twice and is like trying to make a new life for herself in Alaska. Like, I don't really want to read that book, but like, you know, there's got to be some openness out there for other things. My reading habits are funny. It's mostly vanilla hobbies, kink education, and then some advanced books like Crime and Punishment by Dostoyevsky. I can never say that one. I can say Nabokov, but I cannot say Dostoyevsky. I have to say that one. I started to read Crime and Punishment when I was in high school, and then I dropped it, and I read Wuthering Heights instead for my final project, so I was like, I'm not going to be able, like, I think it's interesting, I guess, but I don't have enough to say about this to be able to write an essay about it, so instead we're going to read Wuthering Heights, and I actually did very well on that, I'll have you know. I'm glad I read that. Actually, it was a very good experience for me in terms of literary analysis and getting my footing with that on a more higher academic level before going off to university, but yeah, I do like classic fiction. No, I'm actually not reading, The Lovely Bones. I'm not talking about. I actually kind of like The Lovely Bones because that actually happens immediately. Like that's like the first chapter. The book I'm thinking of is not Wish You Were Here. What the frick is it called? See if I can find it. I can picture the cover exactly. I can picture what the cover looks like. Fuck, I found it. I didn't think I was going to be able to find it. Oh my god, I did. Okay. I was like, I'm going to... This isn't going to make sense until I describe what the book is about. But my search term I searched for was YA book inspired by Simon and Garfunkel. Which is actually, it's based on the folk ballad of Scarborough Fair, which Simon and Garfunkel did a version of. And for some reason, the Goodreads page is not loading for this, and I want to talk to you about it because I am 100% sure this is the book. And it's called Impossible by Nancy Werelin. And it is literally the worst book I've ever read. I hate this book. And thank fucking God the Goodreads reviews have come down a little bit. Because on Amazon, it's like 4.5 out of 5. And on Goodreads, it's 3.6, which is what it deserves. It deserves like a 3. And the reason why I hate this book is because the entire plot is motivated by a teenage girl being assaulted, becoming pregnant, being tricked out of getting an abortion, and falling in love with her boy next door longtime friend, and then having to do a series of impossible tasks while dealing with the assault and the teenage pregnancy, and never doing therapy for any of it, or seemingly showing any kind of distress about the scenario whatsoever at any point. Then like losing her virginity when she's like, well, you know, like in the sense of having willing sex for the first time. Having like willing sex for the first time when she's like 8 months pregnant after getting like emergency married to the boy next door best friend. I'm just like fully spoiling the entire book. And it's just like, it's so dumb. It's so like, you can have a book where you talk about like a teenager experiencing like violence physically, but like the way that it's talked about in the rest of the book is just like so unbelievable. It just made me so angry. The whole book made me so mad. It's just so stupid. It's so unrealistic, and like it's like and it's like they fucking, the whole reason she can't actually get the abortion she wants is like they basically like they magic, the evil bad guy magics his way out of it happening, and he mind tricks everyone into not being able to go through with it, and it's like, oh, so stupid. Like so bad. Very bad book. I was so angry about that. I did not even, when I read Twilight and I read like Breaking Dawn, or even when I read 50 Shades, there were very few instances where I wanted to actually throw the book across the room. This book made me want to do that even more than either one of those two books combined. Oh my god. Do you think Colleen Vlogs is into BDSM? Oh, like Colleen Ballinger? No. I don't know who else you could be talking about if it's a different Colleen. Oh my god. It's just like, it's a whole thing. Anyways, don't read that book. It's really bad. I was mostly drawn to it because the cover looked really cool. And I liked like the back of the book premise like sounded interesting. I'm gonna see if I can find a description so you guys can understand. Like this is like what is described as, right? Is inspired by the classic folk ballad Scarborough Fair, this wonderfully riveting novel is rife with suspense, romance, and fantasy. 17-year-old Lucy discovers that she is the latest recipient of a generations-old elven curse that requires women and her family to complete 3 impossible tasks or risk falling into madness and passing the curse on to the next generation. Unlike her ancestors, Lucy has the support of her fiercely protective adoptive parents and her best friend Zach, whose friendship may be turning into something more. But do they have enough love and resolve to conquer this age-old evil? That sounds like a really fucking cool concept, right? That sounds like, especially as like, I think I read this when I was like 19. Like, it sounds like a really cool book. Or maybe actually it was earlier than that. I think I was maybe still. And it was a National Book Award finalist? Like, fuck off with this. What do you mean it's a National Book Award finalist? No. Cancel that. Get rid of it. Oh my god. Yeah, she used to send it to Word of Fans. That happened one time, and then there's no correlation between Colleen and anything actual, like, BDSM related. But no, she's just, Colleen is impossible. Anyways, this book's like a curse. You gotta break a curse by doing like Herculean, or whatever that is. Yeah, like Hercules, you know? You gotta do that. You gotta do that. That sounds cool. And it's like the whole thing, it's a fantasy. No, it turns out the whole fucking plot is motivated entirely by the worst things that can possibly happen to a human being and minimizing their impact as much as possible. It's just, anyways. Hopefully younger readers have better books than that now, I would hope. No, there's not. So if I look somewhere else, I'm basically always looking at my dog, or I'm like, I don't know, just gazing off into space, wondering what I'm doing with my life. Yeah, no, nobody else but me here. I think my roommates are downstairs or in their rooms, but no, not here. No, I'm alone. I'm always alone, thankfully. Oh, thank you. I've been listening to you silently for years. You never failed on content. I appreciate what you've taught me. Well, you are so welcome, Shell. Thank you. We love the silent listeners, the lurkers in the chat. We love all y'all. You're all good people. Do you know what happened with Milkweb? She was a DDLG YouTuber. She kind of disappeared. I don't know what happened. I never talked to Milkwebs, really. I knew of her content. We weren't ever close personally. I think we maybe like interacted on social media once or twice, but no, I don't know what happened. I mean, like, really the answer is, like, a lot of people make YouTube content or, like, any social media content that could be Instagram, TikTok, whatever. And oftentimes, like, you get into doing it and you realize, like, how much work it is to actually do, and then you fall out of doing it, or you only really had a couple things you wanted to say, or you end up having, like, a really, like, hard time in your life, or you move, get a new job, don't have time anymore, and so you get out of the habit of making videos, and then you don't really start making videos again. Like, when I started making YouTube videos, I made, like, I want to say, like, 5 or 6, maybe, and then I didn't make any for a long time because, like, frankly, like, I just, like, it was a lot of work, and I was also in my final year of school, and so I didn't, like, have the time, really, to, like, be making YouTube videos, and then someone that had watched those older videos was like, hey, I really miss your videos, I hope you make more, and then I was like, you know what, I should make videos again, and so I got into it again. So thank you to that one person who believed in me and sent me a DM and was like, I miss your YouTube videos, because that was really touching. It was nice. But yeah. It's very easy to, like, you know, I think most people that are YouTubers don't make content for 3, 4, 5, 10 plus years. You make content for a little while, you move on with your life, you get new hobbies, you something about your life changes and you just, like, stop doing it. It's very common. It doesn't have to mean anything intense or dangerous or bad happen. It just means that, like, you know, doing YouTube long term is definitely not the norm for most people. And I think most people, even people that, like, regularly make content for a long time, like, there was a YouTuber that I don't follow, but is a beauty YouTuber that got him recommended the other day. It was the first video that she had made in, like, 7 months because she had been dealing with, like, marriage shit. And, like, you know, like, when you're going through that, you're probably not really going to want to go to YouTube right away. So I get it. It's rare I can watch these live because of work, so I usually lurk the next day, but thank you so much for your content, Evie. Your advice gave me the courage to go to my local kink night. Oh, for the first time, I loved it. I wish I had more friends to go again with. Keep up the great and important work. Well, I'm so glad that you enjoyed yourself. Yay! I am sure that if you keep going, you will make more friends and you can go with them to the events. So congratulations. You really did the hard work, though. You went and you were brave. So Yeah, so you did the hard work. I'm just here to facilitate, honestly, and give you that little nudge, a little bit of courage, but you have to execute on it, and you did that. So, good job. Yeah, I know. I'm not far away. I'm 2 years, 2 years, and I can say I've been on here for 10 years. So that'll be, or I'll be going into my 10th year of content at least. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool for me. Um, Yeah, keeping up with work experience is probably good. I mean, like, I feel like especially because social media is now, like, increasingly seen as a legit job. I mean, honestly, like, I'd probably go and I'd get some, like, if I did have to go back to doing full time work again, I would probably go back and get some more professional training done. And that's like current, and then I'd probably go back to school too. Maybe even just like, I was kind of thinking about that, but then also, like, student loan forgiveness isn't happening anymore, and so maybe not. But I was kind of hoping that that might happen, but I guess it's not happening. But I'd probably go and I get retrained or go back to school before I actually, like, fully re-entered the workforce. But honestly, like, I think I could, for the right company, I could, if I decided to get into a field of work that was similar to this, right? Like, if I decided I wanted to work for like a company that made kink products, or I wanted to, like, manage a sex toy store, or do something that was, like, not that I'd really want to do either one of those things, but, like, I could find a way to, like, convert this into being a positive, where it's like, I have 10 years of experience doing social media production and management and, like, all this business back end stuff that a lot of businesses do not really know about social media, and that can be beneficial for a lot of areas. So it's not like wasted time. It's just maybe not what everyone's looking for, but I think you just gotta have an open-minded boss. I just could not work in the old environment I worked in before, because that was like, I'm not really gonna talk about what I did or, like, my career field at all, just in case it ends up ever actually being relevant at any point in my life again in the future. But my original career field was very dominated by, like, old men, and so, like, they didn't know about social media or YouTube or anything, and so it was like I was always, like, the youngest in the room, and, like, pretty much always the only woman, and, like, that was awkward, but such is life, being a young professional. You get to work with people who should have retired 10 years ago that are still desperately holding on to their jobs. What are your thoughts on Rumble or Odyssey? Odyssey. Okay, I don't even think I've heard of that one. Have I heard of that? I mean, it looks like a YouTube clone. They don't show view counts at all, which is kind of a red flag. But is this the one that's kind of like Nebula? Because I like Nebula. I've wanted to be a part of for a long time, but I have never been contacted by Nebula, so no Nebula content for me. But I'm open to something like Nebula. I feel like Kick and Rumble are like two sides of the same coin. Like, they're very similar in terms of what kind of creators are on there and the moderation level, and, like, it just doesn't seem like a friendly environment, honestly. But, if those change, if they end up being actual full-fledged, like, Twitch competitors, we'll think about it for sure. Threads is looking pretty heavy-handed moderation-wise. I think they'll be flagging any non-PG material. That's unfortunate, but it is Facebook, so it is an inevitability, honestly. And also just because, like, the other thing I didn't mention yet is, like, the data tracking is pretty intense. It looks like on those websites too, on Threads. It seems like it's gonna be pretty. You're the product on the website. Your information about everything about your entire life. That's what they want. So now you know about all of the various social media platforms. I am very glad I did not have a MySpace. That was probably good for me, honestly. Yes, I am not, no one, I'm not going to date or marry anyone. Not in this chat, at least. Unless somehow somebody I know that from real life is in the chat right now. In which case, why are you here? Get away from my YouTube account. Going into 10 years of YouTube is amazing. I've watched your channel for many years, Eve. What advice would you have for a newer YouTuber like me who hasn't even made 50 videos yet? I mean, like 50 videos is so many. So I'm not going into year 10 yet. I'm not that old, but pretty soon I will be. So in a couple of years, get back to me. I'll be on year 10. But for now, with my 7 years of experience, going into 8 years of experience, my biggest piece of advice I could give you is make stuff that you are interested in making. I think this is something that a lot of YouTubers get very stuck in, being formulaic about what they make. Like, oh, this is what gets me views, so I'm going to keep making this one thing over and over and over again. And then they get really burnt out very quickly because you can only do so many, like, applying 10,000 layers of mascara or wearing as many shirts as possible, or, you know, whatever, challenge videos or reaction videos. You can only really make so many of those videos before you get tired of making them. And the thing that I think separates long haul YouTubers from people that are not is if you can stay motivated to keep making the content and keep coming back. And for me, that's always looked like adding in more different types of content in addition to my normal, like, core content that I make, right? So, like, I'm always going to be doing, like, educational videos and 101 videos, but I'm also going to be making, like, reaction videos and meme videos and, you know, reading articles and going through scientific literature. Like, I'm also going to be making other content that's related to that, as long as it's interesting to me. And I think that's really important, because if you lose the passion for what you're doing, it's eventually going to eat away at you and you're not going to like it anymore. And then you're going to stop making videos altogether. And so I think it's better to make videos that you like, because then you'll get an audience that likes you and what you make, because you are you, and not just because you are serving them the 50th new version of the same video you've already made 50 times, right? And also, if definitely get monetized as early on as you can on your channel. That will really help you with getting seen by people, because YouTube promotes videos that are monetized. So doing that is good. And then also try to future-proof your videos. And by that I mean, especially, I don't know your content, so I don't know what kind of videos you make, but if you make anything related to, like, sex ed, dating, relationships, sexuality, I would be very cautious about, like, what you put in the background of your videos, what you title videos, what you put in a thumbnail, because if you are too explicit, it will eventually come back to bite you. So be very cautious about things. And, like, just because right now you can get away with having dildos on display in the background of a video, you might not be able to do that in, like, 5 years. And then what I've experienced is I've occasionally woken up in a fucking panic because I've gotten 20 emails from YouTube being like, your video has been removed, or this link has been removed, and you've received a channel strike because of content that I made 5 years ago that I haven't thought about in that long, where I had a link to, like, where you could buy an item I talked about, and then they flagged the link and they decided it was inappropriate, and then they striked my channel. And I was very lucky that they did not do that too many times before I saw what was happening and started to just delete every link that I had in all of my videos. That was, like, nightmare territory for me. I to this day, I still have one strike on my channel that will not ever go away because of that situation. YouTube just literally has told me they have no way to remove it. It is permanently on my channel because of that, like, 2 years ago when that happened. So just be very cautious about the content you're making. And then, like, yeah, again, just have fun. Oh, it's chess related and super vanilla, so it's fine. I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, that's probably good for not having to worry about content moderation too much, but yeah. My favorite content creators are just genuine, authentic folks. Sometimes they stray from their original content, but I hang out because they're just themselves. You are 100% right about formulaic and burnout, yeah. This is why I get kind of confused when people are mad about, like, you used to be funny. This is not like me, because I was never, like, a comedy YouTuber. But people, they get mad about, like, oh, but so-and-so used to be funny. They used to make funny content. Now they just make podcasts. Now they just, like, they make reaction content. They just do this. And it's like, do you really want to be like at your job? Would you want to be doing the exact same thing for 10 straight years? Probably not, unless you're just like, you've got a brain of steel and you're like, I'm just going to power through, get the paycheck, and I don't really care what I'm doing. But a lot of people need to enjoy what they do for work in order to want to keep doing it as work. So that's sort of important to keep in mind. All right, let's maybe get into some more questions here. Actually, I have not seen too many like questions today because we've been talking about so many things. But if you have not asked your question yet, now would be a great time because we've got about half an hour left. So just a quick warning on that, and we will try to get to what we can. Talking about kick. Talking about making jam, talking about being in the kitchen. When I was very young, I felt bad if I didn't go out on a weekend because I thought I was supposed to. Now I enjoy spending my weekend quietly alone and I don't care. Yeah, I mean, like, there's that fear of missing out, but I just don't feel it at all. I'm like, ooh, weekend, time to read a book. Like, but also, like, I work a little bit all the time, and so, like, I don't really have a distinction between, like, a Tuesday versus a Saturday for me. Like, Saturday night versus Wednesday night doesn't, like, there's no difference to me. Like, the only thing that typically ends up being different is, like, the schedule of people maybe that I want to be seeing or hanging out with, but that very rarely changes anything for me, so I'm just, like, totally, like, whatever. As long as I'm having enough time for fun in my day, that's really all I care about. I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm a great therapist. I would not say that I'm a therapist at all. I'm trying not to be a therapist, but I'm glad that they bring you comfort in some way, but I am not a medical professional of any variety, nor have I ever claimed to be. Yeah, like at this point of me wearing the lipstick, I can't feel that it's on my lips at all. Like it just feels very natural, FYI. Lipstick update. Natural lipstick feeling. It's a little bit sticky. I got like a little bit off in the corner there, I think. But I think that was already on my hand, actually, now that I think about it. Oh, no, that little bit came off. A little bit came off. But you know what? For talking for an hour and a half straight, I'll count that as a positive. Oh, thank you. Happy birthday, Evie, and congratulations on the milestone of your channel anniversary. It seems like yesterday you were only making pup and other pet-related videos. I mean, yeah, like a couple years ago was all that I made. And I have a video coming up very soon. I have 2 pet play videos coming up soon because it's been a while since we talked about that, and I'm just like going back. I'm like, you know what, asexuality, pet play, things we have not discussed for a long time. I want to revisit it. I want to talk about it again, and so we are, because I feel like it, because that's how I make content, is I decide what I want to make and then I make it. Is there a video about how to select a safe kink space? I don't think I have a video that is labeled as such where it's like how to find a safe BDSM dungeon, but if you do go to my 101 playlist, I do have a couple of videos I can recommend for you. So I do have a couple where I talk about like navigating FetLife, right? That's a really important one. I have like the one recent one, navigating FetLife. Definitely watch that one because that'll tell you a lot about like groups and things, like it'll like the whole lay of the land for finding events to even begin with, or venues to begin with. And then I have ones on like staying safe in the community and like staying safe like when you play and when you meet people. And that one will talk about like red flags and venues. I also have like a video on community red flags that I think is also worth listening to, about like what's bad signs for an event space. And those would be the 3 I'd look at, is like staying safe in the community, like how to stay safe in the community, how to use FetLife, and like community red flags. I think those 3 together will basically answer your question. But to sort of give you a short answer here, just for the sake of having it out there easily, is listen to your gut. Not every space is going to be for everyone. And certainly when it comes to BDSM spaces, like, a space can be dangerous, and
Rosie
that's bad,
Rosette
but
donated $14.
Not be for you.
Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you for
Belated
Superchat.
birthday? Whatever. Just hope you have fun. Just discovered your channel, and you've been very helpful to me learning about the BDSM community.
Aw.
I can't think of a question. Just wanted to say hi.
Well, thank you, Rosie Rosette, for your super chat. Happy birthday. Belated birthday. Yes, belated by 2 days. Whatever, just hope you have fun. Just discovered your channel, and you've been very helpful to me learning about the BDSM community. I can't think of a question. Just wanted to say hi and show some support. Well, awesome. So thank you for that. And yeah, thank you for the super chat. I guess there's no questions. So I don't have to worry about moving on to that. I can just get back to what I was talking about in terms of like safe venues and finding safe events. So like I was saying, like listen to your gut. It can be that a space is safe but not for you, or just dangerous. And either time, I think it's better to just like walk away from that. I think initially when you are looking at a venue, right, like look for photos of the venue, look for reviews of the venue. Sometimes they're on Google Maps actually, and you can look at reviews on there. Not always accurate, because sometimes people get mad and they're like, 1 star, didn't find any women, just suck my dick. Like, they just like leave like the most insane reviews. Like they think walking into a BDSM club, they're gonna have women sucking their cock left and right, and it's like, that's not how that works, but whatever. So look at reviews, look for photos, look to see who is RSVP'd to events. If you find an event, especially on FetLife, you want to go to, right? Like, is it people with like filled out profiles and they are talking and like active in the local scene? Do they seem like full actual human beings, or is it like empty profiles, blank photos, or only men over 60, right? Like maybe you want that, but probably you want something where you can meet like-minded people in a similar place as you, and most likely that's not going to be faceless avatars with usernames like XXX Big Dick 24739XXX. Like, that's probably not going to be who you want to hang out with at a bunch. So look at who is RSVP'd, look at who is organizing the event, check out their profile, message them with a couple of questions about like, you know, hey, I'm new, what do you recommend in terms of like what I wear, when should I show up, you know, things like that. Just like get a level of contact established and then see how they respond to that, if they respond at all. And look for rules about things like gendered pricing structures, because that's usually a big sign something is a swinger event, and then usually not really the best event space in terms of safety because of like sexual violations, honestly, more than anything else. Look to see, do they have anything in terms of like a code of conduct or rules? Can you see those before you go to the event space? What is their policy around consent violations? How have they handled that in the past, if they've talked about it before? Oftentimes, you will see writings on an event organizer's page about like a consent incident that happened or their policy about it. And I have definitely come across venues that through word of mouth I have discovered are not very good places. I've gone to venues before where I get like a bad feeling and then choose not to go back, even if it's like the space I could go to, because it's more important to me that I go to a safe space than not at all. And there are certainly events and groups of people and places I've been where I don't feel 100%, and I choose to listen to my gut on that and be like, okay, like I like don't really feel great here, and so I'm gonna not keep forcing myself to go to this or like be around these people, because it's not worth it. And like through time and trial and error, you will find your group, you'll find your people. It might take a while, especially if you're in a smaller town or city. It might be more difficult to find those people. You might have to go farther away, but they are definitely going to be out there, even if online, if not in person. And the main thing, again, is just like listening to your gut. Have a plan to be able to leave right when you need to. I recommend driving yourself or having like a friend pick you up and drop you off. Let somebody know where you're going, how long you're going to be away for. Just have other things in place to keep yourself safe. And like, again, if it seems too good to be true, probably not true. And if it feels like it could be sleazy and bad, it probably is. Like, I feel like normally if you see a BDSM space and they have gendered pricing and hot tubs, you can probably be pretty sure it's not the cleanest place imaginable, but I could be wrong. I'm sure there's somebody out there with a BDSM venue with clean hot tubs that does parties 4 nights a week, but I don't really know how you'd manage that, because if you get cum in the hot tub, it's very difficult to clean, but at least I imagine it is. I actually don't know a lot about cum getting into hot tubs. I'm just being hyperbolic for the sake of it, but it is possible definitely to find things. I have a question. I'm probably about to meet again with the dom of my past, but I wasn't into that hard BDSM in the meantime. 3 years. Any advice? Okay, wait, let me parse this exactly. Okay. I'm probably about to meet again. Okay, so dom that you had before. Okay, but I'm assuming what you mean by that is you're meeting an old partner again, but while you've been separated, you haven't really done like hard BDSM in the interim, right? I feel like honesty is always the best way to go. Like, you're not going to be able to hide that you haven't done certain things for a long time, or that your body isn't like, you don't have buns of steel. You don't have, you don't have like leather butt from how much you've been doing heavy impact play. It's gonna be noticeable regardless. So it's better to be honest. So I think I would probably say, if I was in your position, if I was meeting up with like either an old partner or like a new partner that's very experienced, like I tell people, like, I've been in the scene for a long time. I've been in the scene for 7, 8 years now, and I talk about it a lot. I'm very well read and I know a lot about it, but I haven't done like this thing for a while, right? Like, for example, like I haven't done suspension in quite a long time because I don't have a partner that does that. So like if I was meeting up with somebody to do a suspension, I would say like, I really love rope bondage. I did it, probably 2 to 3 times a week for a couple of years. I really enjoyed it. And this is what I do currently to keep my body healthy in terms of like hydration, exercise, mobility exercises, things like that. I feel like physically prepared to do a suspension again, and maybe even better than I was doing it before, or like my body's more ready to do it, but I haven't done it for a while. This is what I remember being true about myself a couple of years ago, but I'm not 100% sure about that in terms of like, pain points or endurance level or things, because like hormones and everything else, like as you get older, everything changes. So you can't, like, even as a guarantee from like 1 year to the next, know for sure what's going to happen, even if you are consistently playing that whole time. But it is good to know. um and yeah, I just be like honest about where I'm at with what I'm curious about, what I want to do. And then just like, I would probably focus on like what I'm enthusiastic about doing, right? Like, I would probably say, again, like kind of sticking with my suspension example, if I was meeting up with somebody to do that, I would say like, yeah, I love getting to do suspension. It's been a while since I've done it. I really would love to do something like this, or have this feeling, or have this goal of doing this one particular type of thing, and then like opening up that conversation to do it more. But it really depends on what you're looking for, and yeah, it can vary a lot. And I imagine that, like, in the time that you've been away from this person, they've also had other experiences. Like, I definitely have known people over my lifetime where, like, I knew them as, like, one person, like 5 years ago, and then we talk again, and it turns out that they're, like, they have a new gender and a new name, and they used to be a switch, now they're a dom, or they used to be a dom, and now they're a switch, and, like, they used to be monogamous, and now they're poly, or they were poly, now they're monogamous. Like, things always change over time, right? So you can't really take anything for granted for anyone. And so also remember that they are also, like, they probably have their own insecurities about things that maybe are different about them now versus when you used to know them. And like, it's not going to be just you who's like new to this. Superman. That was an unintentional reference, I suppose, because I was actually thinking of SpongeBob, I believe. So anyways, I hope that helps you a little bit. But I totally get being nervous. It is a natural thing, but I think just embracing the nervousness, like, I think in like all honesty, embracing the nervousness, to most dominants, having somebody come to you with that vulnerability of saying like, hey, I'm nervous, I'm excited, but I'm also anxious about this thing. Like, that's like catnip, right, for a dom. They're like, ooh, like this person, this like this vulnerability, this openness, I can work with that. So that's actually probably placed to your benefit more than anything. My theory is it's all the straight edge holdouts grouping together like penguins for safety. That's funny. That's great. That's good stuff. It's like a jump scare. It is, and it's so sudden. Yes. Okay. Like, it's like content warning. If you guys do choose to look up the Nair video, which I don't recommend, it is a jump scare. It's very quickly into the video that the Nair happens. Okay. So just like be very cautious if you don't want to see full grown man butthole and balls. It's fully zoomed in. Don't click on it. Okay. Just you don't have to, or skip ahead at least or something. There is an aurora around my outline because I have a light. I have a light back there, which I'm not like super happy with. It's too short, but I like have it now, so I gotta like I feel like I gotta use it for something. So I am. Nair is a hair removal cream, and I wouldn't use it because it's literally a controlled chemical burn. It's not supposed to be on your mucous membranes at all. It's not like if you got it on your labia, if you got it on like honestly probably your scrotum, really would not be good for you. Actually, I know people that have horrifically injured themselves attempting to use Nair on their private parts, which is why I don't recommend it. But it's basically an alternative to like shaving or waxing or something like that. Like it's supposed to be a similar level of like non-permanent hair removal that's supposed to like be easier than shaving. The Nair video has 18 million views. Oh my god, when I saw it, it was like 2 million. God damn. I need, like, fucking, okay, I guess if, but the thing is, this is what gets me, is if I showed my bare asshole, not that I do this, but just theoretically, if a woman or me or just somebody with a vagina, if we showed our whole labia and asshole on camera to show somebody how to use Nair, or we would get a channel strike. It would be implicitly seen as sexual in a way that was going too far. But because this is like somebody with balls and a scrotum and whatever, and like, well, you know what I mean. Like, because it's not a vagina and a labia, plural, because it's not just, you don't just have a labia, but you know, again, just fudging the language here. I could talk about the people that got mad about like, oh, using imprecise language in your video about your personal experience of polyamory, because one time I said open relationship where maybe polyamory would have been a more precise descriptor, and it's like, get off my dick. Get fully off of it. Thank you, Knife Crow. Thank you, Knife Crow, for the super chat. Thank you for all the great educational content. Well, you are so welcome. Thank you so much, Knife Crow. I love that name, by the way, Knife Crow. Inspired, truly. Is that like Knife Frog or like a meme thing? Oh, thank you so much for the belated birthday wishes. Yeah. Yeah, so the light is like, it's a light bar thingy. I don't like fully love it, but it's here, so we have it. I just like, I don't know, the Nair thing. 18 million views. Because it's like, I can't even make a video where I talk about like pelvic diseases without it being age gated, right? Like, I can't make an educational video where I talk about recovering from antibiotics for 2 weeks without it being age gated because it's adult content. And it's like, 18 million views on a video. Because this is the thing, right? Is like, supposedly, if you get a video age restricted, it doesn't get recommended to you. Supposedly, right? Usually. But this video was so big that it like trumped the algorithm and was getting recommended to people anyways and still went viral, even though usually age-gated videos do not even get, like, if you searched for like Nair hair removal, typically what would happen is that video wouldn't even show up in a search result. But now it is, so make it make sense. I do not remember seeing Hellhound having a question. The chat has been moving pretty fast, so there's a possibility that I missed it and it's like too far back for me to get to. But if somebody remembers what Hellhound's question is, I would happily answer it if somebody lets me know what it is. I have not seen it as of yet. I guess I'm just mostly thinking of with like sexplanations, you know, where like they would be using anatomical models to demonstrate things and then they would still get dinged for it. And like it was really hard for Lindsay Doe to make content on YouTube, even as a literal sexologist, so literally a doctor, like somebody with a doctorate in this field, where this is their bread and butter, this is their whole career is doing this, and then they still get dinged because they use an anatomical model to talk about how to like clean your labia. Like, it's just frustrating. Segs is a barf. Yeah. I hate saying the word segs. It's like my least favorite. I hate the way it's spelled. It's like a repulsive word to me. Like, I think the way that other people feel about moisture, I feel about the word segs. I hate it. The G's disgusting. Can't be me. Could not do it. Well, and also I think the other thing with manual moderation in YouTube videos that I don't think I mentioned is there's been a couple of times where I have submitted something for an appeal to be moderated, and then in less time than the actual length of the video, I will get a response that says that like a human reviewed this, they've decided it's still like violates guidelines, is still age restricted. And it's like, that's a 35-minute video, and then you replied to this in 10 minutes. So how is that possible? And that does not always make sense to me. Maybe it's just like the title or the thumbnail by itself was enough to make them angry, but honestly, I don't know. As someone who did freelance work on a project for Google, I can 100% say their pay structures reward you for agreeing with their algorithms. Whew, that's a lot. I read some YA, and yeah, it's a lot more adult than it was a couple decades ago. Captain Underpants was the best. I never read that series, so I don't know. But a lot of the female authors or female fantasy authors get slotted into YA when they don't want to be and are writing for adults. Yes, that's like the counter problem to this is also like lots of people, like, who's the lady, Colleen, the other, not Colleen Hoover, because the other one pronounces her name Colleen, I think. Colleen Hoover, who writes not YA, but gets categorized oftentimes as YA dark romance novels, gets put in YA sections. And, like, these are books about gaslighting and domestic violence and just, like, intense, heavy topics that a 14-year-old is not necessarily wanting to or equipped to deal with. And there are definitely other romance books that are age appropriate, but it's definitely not Verity. It's definitely not It Ends With Us or I don't know. That's all. Those are the only titles I know. We're just gonna stick with those. I'm very slowly working on a novel that feels kind of YA in a setting, but I wouldn't want kids reading it because there's a lot of BDSM and sex. I mean, you can make like actual books meant for young adults. You can make books that are meant to be read by like 20 to 30-year-olds, you know? Like, that's fine. That should be, that's great. But now we've decided that instead of young adult actually meaning young adult, this is the confusing thing, is we've decided that young adults young adult books as a category are not for adults. They're for older teenagers, right? Like, I'm confused why we market as a term YA, meaning that it should be for 14 to 17, or like 14 to 18. Because it's like, a 14-year-old is not an adult, they're a pre-adult. They're before they're an adult, right? When you're that age. So I don't get it. Like, I'm not in the publishing business, so what do I know? I'm not sure how that term originally got touted and created as a category, but it already seems sort of strange to begin with. Like, maybe YA is now actually becoming what YA used to be, which is actually younger adult fiction as opposed to teenage fiction. And maybe we need a different word for that, but again, I don't know. I'm not in the publishing business. Okay, wow, we have 10 minutes left. Okay, red alert, 10 minutes left. Get your questions in now. Ugh. Yeah. The crime and punishment is something you more study than read, really? I mean, tell that to my high school English teacher, I suppose. Yeah. Okay, I am scanning for questions. I am on red alert looking for questions. Why do women read spicy romance? If they fantasize about the male main character, I'm assuming is MMC, and them getting it on them, I personally view it as cheating. Even as fantasy, it's disrespectful. Thoughts on this? I mean, listen, is men watching porn cheating? Like I feel like questions like that, maybe, again, I'm too asexual, I'm too polyamorous. I don't, like, necessarily know how, like, the average monogamous non-ace person feels about this, but I feel like if we're gonna say that women reading romance novels is cheating, we have to say that men watching porn is cheating. And you can't get out of that by being like, it's different for men because they only look at the bodies and they're not emotionally connected to the characters, and so it's different. Like, no, it doesn't matter. It isn't like cheating in real life. You don't go, oh, well, it wasn't cheating because I only looked at her boobs. I didn't like her emotionally. It's like, it just doesn't matter. Yeah, I don't. Yes. Like the stream if you've not already for the beautiful, beautiful, adorable floof. It would be great to get to 100 likes, but we don't have to. It's just a goal. Just a personal goal for me. But yeah, I don't, like, is having a private fantasy in your head cheating? Is porn cheating? Okay, if it's neither one of those are cheating, then that can't be cheating either. I don't really think you can control what your partner thinks about privately. And as long as they don't, like, act on it or plan to act on it or like intentionally disrespect you, just simply having a fantasy, I think actually should probably be encouraged for part of having a healthier sex life, honestly, like a more well-rounded sex life, and expecting a partner to completely control the other partner's like fantasy life. And like, I think people, like, we've just like messed with people's brains and like lied to them. Honestly, we have lied to people. We have lied to people about how fantasy and attraction work. And if you expect monogamy as a default to be like, when I'm with you, I will not fantasize about anything or anyone else. I will not look at anyone or anyone else with any kind of attraction. I will not even be able to feel attraction, even theoretically, to anyone else besides you. I will not be compelled to engage in any other kind of fantasy world or fantasy that doesn't involve you, and I will not masturbate, okay? I won't do any of those things with you because that is what monogamy is. No, that's not how it works. That's not a thing that happens. Occasionally, I will know somebody who is very monogamous, where they literally are unable to feel attraction when they are currently in a relationship with somebody that's like a monogamous relationship. That is the exception and not the rule. Most people still feel attraction and sexual urges for things and people besides just their partner. It's how it's acted on that matters, not like having the feeling by itself. Yeah. I think that men watching porn is cheating. I mean, like, as long as you're internally consistent and all of it's cheating, then you can have that opinion. I just don't think that it is. I just, like, I just don't think that way. I don't know. Like, I think I used to think that way when I was, like, 15 before I knew anything about anything. But, I mean, really, actually, like, the actual answer is that, like, whatever your expectation is, you have to be clear about what that is getting into a relationship, because it's not universally understood. In my dating life as an adult, literally, even before I was kinky, before I was like polyamorous, even then, I didn't know people or date people that assumed that porn was cheating or wrong. And like, you have to be very upfront and very clear about, this is what I'm comfortable with, this is what I'm not comfortable with, this is what I expect from a monogamous committed relationship. Are you on the same page? Right? And have that conversation, because like, if somebody has a habit that you don't agree with or that you don't want in a partner, like, better to know that on date 3 versus dating for 3 years. So, you know, just avoid hurt feelings, avoid mismatches and expectations, and, you know, I guess just take the L, I guess, if it doesn't end up working out. I don't know, it just feels like insecurity to me. Like, fantasy characters aren't real other people. Like, it would be one thing if you were like fantasizing about a coworker that you interacted with every day, and like, it was because you really wanted to be with them, versus like, you have a fantasy because you watched like a hot scene in a movie and you thought it was hot to think about again. Like, I don't know, like, it's just like, there's like, it's hard to even say this as like a definitive thing, like it's always wrong, because I think that, like, I think when people think about like the worst case scenario to justify this, it's like, well, it wouldn't be okay if you were fantasizing about you fucking your wife's sister, and it's like, oh, that's a very specific thing. Yeah. um Are you able to see it? Anyways, I will. Let me see. Okay, I will move on for this, because I don't want to get sucked into this. But just like, like, to me, like, having as a baseline expectation that's like a universal truth that it just is cheating, it is wrong, it is always bad. To me, that comes across as insecurity. But, yeah. I just saw that one. It's about being ace. I wish I could just sort by, like... Okay, here we go. I found it. Okay. I'm ace, but I really don't experience sexual attraction. But lately, I want to find a partner to express my sexual desires. This is common for some aces. I feel like there's actually a label for this. Let me Google it real quick, actually. For when you're asexual, but you still want to, like, have sexual experiences, or like find someone to explore that with. I think there's a word for it. All right, I'm gonna try and find this, because this is actually like a good thing to know about. Cupio, that's what it is. Cupiosexual, which is a micro label on the asexual spectrum for those who do not experience attraction yet desire a sexual relationship. Cupiosexuals are commonly sex favorable. So, like, it could be somewhere on the spectrum of like being sex favorable over to like being cupiosexual. So it's Qupio and then sexual, like Cupid, but if Cupid had an O instead of a D. That's basically what it is. But yes, that is definitely a thing. That I'm not sure, like, if you surveyed the ace community, how many people would identify as either cupiosexual or sex favorable. I would say it would be a sizable minority. Like, it's probably somewhere between like 5 to 15%, I'd probably say. And I think a lot of ace people even go through that period. Like, I think, like, I went through this, right? Where, like, I didn't really know a lot about sex at all. And so I wanted to try it and see what it was like. And then through that experience, it affirmed what my identity was, because I went, oh, I don't actually really care about this. I don't really, like, actually want this. It wasn't like I didn't know anything about it yet and I just hadn't tried it yet. I tried it, not really my thing. Okay, now I know more. So, yes, that is, yeah. Cupiosexual, sorry, it's CUPIO and then sexual. I'll pop that in a chat for you in case you want to Google that and more. Yes. I talked about Knife Crow's donation. It's very generous. Thank you so much. I talked about it. I talked about Knife Crow being an awesome name. How is it different from Ace Spike? I don't know what Ace Spike is. All right, let me look up that one too. Ace Spike is an asexual orientation on the asexual spectrum. This identity is for those who usually don't feel sexual attraction. However, on occasion, they have rare, sudden, and intense spikes of sexual attraction that last for a very short amount of time. Okay, so it kind of sounds like a flavor of gray sexuality or gray ace, like, which is me, where it's like you don't usually feel sexual attraction, but it can happen rarely. But this is like a not enduring thing where it's like a flash of a feeling, but then it goes away very quickly. I would say the difference between this and ace spike is cupiosexual is more like you don't ever feel sexual attraction, but that lack of attraction doesn't prevent you from wanting to experiment with trying out sexual things, even though you don't experience attraction while doing them. Whereas ace spike sounds like it's more like you do have brief moments of feeling attraction at all, but it doesn't necessarily mean anything for in terms of like how much you actually desire having sex or not, or experimenting with that, or having a relationship that contains sex. So, I don't know. There's definitely overlap there. I could see how you might, pick one over the other. But yeah. There's also like ace flux. There's also, there's like, I don't know how to pronounce this one. It's like Bellisexual. I'll also put that one in the chat in case you decide you want to Google that one. And that one is people on the asexual spectrum that describe people who have, Bellisexual is on the asexual spectrum as a micro label. It describes people who have an interest in certain aspects of sexual actions and or the aesthetic of a sexual relationship. However, they do not feel sexual attraction and do not want a sexual relationship. So it's sort of like they find the idea of sex interesting, and they find, how do I say, the aesthetic of a sexual relationship. I'm not really sure what that means. But interesting. Anyways, I think that probably about covers it. Definitely none of those BS points here. Okay, let's see if we can get to one more question here, and then I will go and make jam. What a night, what an evening. We're talking about moderation and YA. I'm just gonna like go towards the end. No. Aw, thank you. Oh, there's a major delay in my end of the stream. Oh, well, I am, hopefully you heard my question, or my answer to your question at least. No problem. I'm sure you were wondering why I was putting cupiosexual stuff in the chat then. You're like, what's that about? Hopefully that gave you your answer there. Definitely good content on stuff. She's making content again, actually. Sexplanations is making content again now. So, there you go. Okay. Do you have any good places online for DS dating? FetLife is the only one I'm aware of. Field. Usually it's people you intend to meet up with in real life. So if what you're looking for is online only dating, it's probably not going to really work for that. But if you do want to meet a dom in person or just other BDSM minded people, Field is the one website where I feel like you can pretty regularly meet other kinky people for dating in like a reliable way. I would say like OkCupid, I meet lots of like poly people on, and I tend to meet more kinky people on Field. And it's Field, it's FEELD. If you go to the links in my more recent videos, I have a link to like be able to sign up for Field if you want to do it that way. But that's like the one like kinky dating app I recommend, because most of the other ones, I mean, the ones that are like obliquely just kinky, I feel end up being filled with like catfish and scammers, so I don't really recommend that. But so many topics today. YouTube moderation, YouTube books, the history of my YouTube channel, fucking putting Nair on your butthole, I guess. I don't know. It's been a ride. Would it be helpful for any questions if we put in a question emoji? Yes. I'm not saying that people should, like, as a requirement do that, but it can be helpful if I'm looking for a question to have that in there, because, like, it's not common to otherwise use that emoji, I suppose. Oh, gotcha. Okay. All right, little baby girl. My little sweetheart, my little sweet angel. Hi, sweet baby. Hi, my sweet angel pie. Hi. Hello, big stretch. Little girl, do you want to say goodnight to everyone? Are you too sleepy? Are you too sleepy? Oh, no, we want belly. Come here. No, I have to come over there. I have to come over there and give you belly rubs. Is that how this works, ma'am?
DJ Base Hawk 3726 donated $20. Wanted to wish you a happy belated birthday, Evie, and happy anniversary for your channel too. Here's to wishing you all the best going forward and hoping for a bright future for your channel.
Hello.
Hope you and the love.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the super chat. Happy birthday and happy anniversary for your channel too. Here's wishing you all the best going forward and hoping for a bright future for your channel. Hope you and the lovely Bendita have a great night and weekend. Yes, we will, as you can tell. Look at this face. She's like, I love this dog so much. She's, oh goodness. Oh goodness. We're okay. Hi, baby. We're okay. Yes, go girl. Okay, we're gonna go hang out on the couch now. I'm gonna go hang out. Yes, just found the question mark emoji. This is the one. Sounds good. Yes. Again, no requirement to do that. But that can be a good way to flag questions in the future for sure. Yes, she's very sleepy. So sleepy little girl. But she's about to have her spa day, which she loves so much. So we're going to go do spa day with Bendita. Again, thank you so much for all of your questions and hanging out with me on this Friday. We do these streams every Friday at 6 o'clock. If you want to come hang out and do another one with me next week, I always appreciate you all being here. Thank you so much for your time listening to me. A new video coming out tomorrow, most likely. And hopefully you all will enjoy it. And I will talk to you all again soon. Bye. And thank you so much, by the way, for the super chats. Thank you again for everyone who donated. You totally did not have to. I had no expectations of that. But thank you so much for the birthday wishes and the well wishes and the congratulations on my channel. It was very, very good. Anyways, again, thank you all so much, and good night.